What is happening, team? How are we all? I hope you're all well. I hope you're all having a good day so far. I do apologise about my absence on YouTube. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this. Like when something bad happens in life or something negative happens, multiple other things negatively happen as well. Is that even the right way of saying it? So 6 weeks ago, got COVID, was fucked for 2 weeks, had to isolate, etc, etc. Then had like a decent little run of training. Then went and got my vaccine, so was fucked for a week. And then had like 2 sessions back. I trained upper, trained legs, felt good, was like, right, cool, thank God, let's try and get some weight back on, let's continue the off season. This time last week, 7 days ago, I got a horrendous stomach bug. I had like the worst stomach cramps I've ever had in my life, could not do anything, could not get any food in. Also had the shits, which is not ideal. For any reason, it's not ideal. So today's like the first day that like I kind of feel better. The plan today is to go try and train push. Taking it extremely easy though, alright? AJ did speak to me and was like, Ben, fucking please be cautious. So it's been a week off training. We are 7 pounds down, 7 days not training, feel skinny, feel like I look skinny. Anyway, we're thinking positive. One good thing that's happened today is that AJ took cream of rice out, which is fucking perfect. I hate cream of rice so much, you know I hate cream of rice. We now have Cocoa Pops. Cocoa Pops are in, that is a win of today. Me and Alex took a food intolerance test yesterday. It's something that I've actually wanted to do for a while, was to take one of these intolerance tests, just to see like what your body does not agree with, especially like something you'll hear me repeat a lot is digestion, especially in the off season. Like if there's any way of me finding out what foods to stay away from that's going to make me feel less bloated, etc, etc, I'm going to do, especially with having this stomach bug and having this fucking horrendous stomach cramps. I was like, what a better time to do it, or there's not a better time to do it than now. The only thing is, I posted this on my Instagram story. They asked for nothing apart, I don't know what this is. They asked for nothing apart from bits of my hair. Like, how the fuck can they tell how my digestion is due to my hair? I mean, that's fucking weird, man. Also, what happens if you're bald? Do you know what I mean? It said you can do hair from any part of your body. What are you going to send away your fucking pubes or something? It's not very nice, but what are you going to do? Anyway, that should come back in 40 hours, so I will keep you posted in regards to what that is. I've got a feeling like I'm going to probably be one of these unlucky people who are like, nothing agrees with me, apart from chicken and rice and things like that. But we have just had our Cocoa Pops. We are going to head to the gym. That's the only thing about training early. It's 11:15. I don't usually train too early because I prefer to get like not only 1 but 2 meals in and enough water. However, it is only going to be a devolume session, so we've only had 130 grams of Cocoa Pops, 60 grams of whey and 20 grams of dark chocolate. So that's like the biggest meal I've had in the past week. I do feel a little bit iffy in regards to a little bit sick, but I think that's just because of the food volume. Anyway, we're going to head to the gym and I will catch you there. Literally every single clip of this YouTube video has been taken in this car, in this seat. So I do apologise that the scenery is just my car. Anyway, that is us at the gym. The first time at Flex in a week. As I say, at this time last week, I actually trained last Friday. It was pool. That's when like I started getting a sore stomach, so that session was fucking horrendous. Today, there is not going to be nothing special happening. It is a devolume session. Another devolume session. I feel like that's all I fucking do is devolume sessions. Anyway, the plan is just to, honestly, just to get in and just move. It is a push session, so what I'm going to do, as I said, it's not going to be very motivating in regards to big numbers or etc etc. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to record all my clips. I'm basically going to explain my push session in regards to why we program certain things first, how we do certain things. So I'm going to probably just do a voiceover. I know I've done voiceovers before. I know a lot of people enjoy them. I know some people don't enjoy them, but as I say, it's because it's not going to be the most entertaining session. I feel like I may as well give you some sort of benefit to watching this video. So I'm going to explain my push session. My fucking Jesus Christ. I'm going to explain my push session, alright? And I'll catch you after the gym. So, first exercise of today's push session. I always still struggle to say that for some fucking reason. Anyway, we have a single arm cable lateral raise, alright? Working the side delt. So people always say, or don't always say, but people ask, why do you do that first instead of your pressing movements, alright? So basically, there's a few reasons why I like to place this in programming at the start. The first reason is that you're nice and fresh. So your ability to get that muscle fully short, which basically means fully contracted, is much greater, alright? Also, secondly, what it does is this primes your delt and primes your shoulders for the big movements that are about to come during this push session as well, alright? So the first cue I would give you here, the reason I'm using a cuff is it just takes pressure off my wrist joint. That's the only reason here. I don't obviously have to hold on to any D handle. As you can see here, the biggest focus I'm doing is pulling out, not up, alright? You're not trying to shrug that shoulder up. The reason I hold on to the metal bar at the side, the cable, is just to give me added stability. More stability, you get better force production. So yeah, the cues here, chest up, try and keep the shoulder down and focus on pulling out. Secondly, we have our first compound movement, a bigger movement, alright? So here we have like an incline dumbbell press. I'll probably call it like a more low to medium incline dumbbell press rather than it's definitely not a high incline dumbbell press, alright? The reason why we do this bigger movement so earlier on in the session with free weights, not machine, is just as I mentioned in the first voiceover, that you're nice and fresh, alright? So your muscles are fresh, they're not fatigued, so your ability to stay stable throughout that movement is going to be greater, alright? So a few cues for you to think about when performing this movement would be, the first thing you can see me do is when I roll back with those dumbbells, I always make sure that I'm in a safe position first before pressing, alright? That's the most important thing we do here. Then you'll notice that I always keep my elbows directly under my wrists. That's just going to take pressure off your joints and then obviously be able to create more force, alright? The biggest thing I want you to think about when doing this movement is driving your elbows across your chest, alright? Don't push up, but drive your elbows across your chest to contract that chest and not rounding your shoulders forward. So next we have a high incline Smith machine press, alright? Now the main goal for me here is to improve my top line, alright? So when you hear top line in bodybuilding, all it means is basically improve your upper chest, your front delt, etc, etc, alright? The reason why we're using a Smith machine now and not free weight is just starting to get a little bit more fatigued, obviously not fully fatigued, but having a machine lets you focus on solely the exercise, contracting the muscles, using the muscles, rather than have to focus on stabilizing that, alright? You can see here that I'm keeping my elbows again directly under my wrists, and also you'll see that my elbows will follow the path of the machine, alright? You don't see my elbows coming further forward or going back, they always stay directly under the bar, and that's extremely important for joint health, alright? Also, again, the exact same on this movement than the first movement, you want to focus on driving your elbows across your chest to contract the top of that pec. So now that's us done with the pressing. I know that's only 2 presses, what you're probably thinking is not that much, but again, every single person is different in regards to recovery. That's just what I recover from is that amount of pressing, alright? Obviously it's a devolume session, so it's a little bit different. Anyway, next up we have a lying cuff lateral raise, alright? Again, the exact same things apply here. The cuffs are just less pressure on the wrist joint. The bench is just to create more stability, simple as that, alright? Now, you're probably thinking, Ben, you've already done a similar movement, why are you doing the same movement again? Why are you doing more side raises? The reason being, the best movement for you to get that capped delt, the big shoulders, is lateral raises, side raises, alright? It's not pressing, obviously it does play a vital role, but side raises are what's going to grow that side delt, which is going to make you look bigger and wider, alright? Again, you'll see that my wrists follow the path of the cables, alright? So you always need to make sure that you line the cables up with the direction your wrists are going to travel. So for me, it's on like number 5, I think, which just sits above my hips, you could say, and all I'm focusing down here is, again, pulling out, alright? I'm pulling out towards the walls. I'm not focused on pulling back or up, out, pausing the contraction, taking nice controlled eccentrics, slight pause at the bottom because I don't want to see that jerk, that transition in regards to eccentric to concentric. We want to keep tension on your delt and not going to your shoulder joint. So now that we have the delts out of the road, we're now going to isolate the chest. So here we have a D-handle cable fly. Again, exact same things as the last 2 or 3 movements. Using the bench for stability. Obviously, if I had to stand, I'd have to focus on stabilising and not falling over. So again, my mind is elsewhere rather than thinking about this exercise and what I'm trying to work. The D-handle simply lets your wrist move in a more natural way, alright, and again, taking less pressure off of the joint than it is when it was in a fixed position, alright. That's obviously another benefit of cables as well, and I prefer cables a lot more than dumbbells. I just find that the resistance profile is a lot better and favourable than a dumbbell. In regards to cues for this, keep your chest up, always try and focus on squeezing those shoulder blades into the pad, never rounding forward. As soon as you round forward, I feel like you just take tension off of your chest and it goes into your front delts. Again, Think about your elbows touching each other, alright? I know obviously the D handles are in your hands, but try and think about driving your elbows in towards each other, not your hands, alright? Another thing I see people doing is they stretch out so far that they're just taking the tension off their pec and going into their shoulder joint, which you don't want to do. So whenever you feel like you're getting that decent stretch in your pec, then focus on driving in. But again, make sure you're cautious in regards to the transition. You don't want to go down then jerk back up. You want to make sure it's so slow and steady and you're controlling these phases. So second last exercise, we have a few tricep exercises, right? Isolating the triceps. So here I have a single arm cuffed tricep push down, all right, working the medial and the lateral head of a tricep. There is 3 heads of a tricep. The long head we're going to work in the next video. And please, when you're doing tricep exercises, lads especially, and probably females, drop your fucking ego, drop the weight, and use your tricep, alright? We don't want to be using your shoulder, we don't want to be using your body weight to push it down, use the tricep, alright? So what I do here is try and bring it up in regards to full elbow flexion, so all the way up into a lengthened position of my tricep, then coming all the way down so I'm fully extended at the bottom, and that's going to fully contract my tricep, alright? Full range of motion, no half reps, will work massively in regards to tricep growth. And last exercise of today, we have a D handle overhead extension, alright? You could use a rope here, but I just prefer the D handles. Just the exact same in regards to what I mentioned when we were doing the D handle cable fly. The D handle just simply lets my wrists move in a more natural direction, alright? This is working the long head of the tricep, which is quite hard to see here because I have a nice thick layer of body fat. It's going to be harder to see, but this is going to work more so the back of your triceps, alright? As you can see here, I like to spend time in the stretch. Again, not jerking from A to B, really taking my time and taking the triceps for a full range of motion. Again, it is sometimes hard to stabilise, so I usually put like one foot in front of the other. Make sure your core's nice and tight. As I say, bringing your arms all the way down to behind your head and then focusing on driving up and out until your arms are fully extended. What's that? Look. What's that? What's that? So we are back from our push session. Obviously, as I said earlier in the video, like first session back in a week. It was just a devolume session. I did say that at the start of the session as well. It wasn't going to be very entertaining. Devolume session, you've heard me talk about before because it's all I seem to fucking do. It's just like a reduction in volume. So usually I would do like 2 sets or 3 sets on some things. Today was just one back off set, 12 to 15 or 10 to 15 reps, not training to failure. So if you're new to the channel and you're like, fucking hell, like he doesn't train very hard, that is why, alright? Please don't think I train like that. It's very difficult too. But energy levels felt a bit like my stomach didn't feel, it probably was about 90%. As I said, I had my post-workout meal there and it felt like okay-ish, so I'm just trying to slowly increase food. One thing I want you guys to take away from this video is like when you do have a setback or you're unwell or whatever, like try your best to stay positive. Now that's extremely easy for me to say to you. Like one of my clients, Jodie, she hurt her ankle and she was doing so fucking good and she was like so down about it, and I was like, listen, it's fine, you'll be fine, it's temporary, there's people out there who are worse than you, just try and get back to it. But when it happens to me, I'm like, fuck, like I fucking hate setbacks. In regards to bodybuilding, in regards to where I am in my career with bodybuilding, you want to make sure you do every single thing to progress, and when something makes you regress or stall, it's frustrating. But anyway, just relax, we'll get better, and just focus on what you can control. For instance, me, well, I couldn't control my food because my food was extremely low, but I just rested more, and I done a bit more work as well, obviously, because I'm not in the gym. I've got like 2-3 hours a day to do more work, so I focused on doing more work. So yeah, I just wanted to do this video in regards to a quick update on where I am. I know I like keeping you guys updated with where I am, and etc, etc. So the goal now is just to regain fullness, to regain some weight, regain some strength, and I will see you next week.